When you summarize numerical data using a pivot table, Excel displays the values with either no formatting, which can make the numbers difficult to interpret, or a number format that you've applied. You can also create a conditional format called data bars, which adds color bars to a cell's background. The length of the bar reflects the relative magnitude of the value within the cell. I'll demonstrate how to create data bar conditional formats in this movie. My sample file is databars 0503, and you can find it in the Chapter 5 folder of the Exercise Files collection. In this pivot table, I have a set of data for wind harvester sales for the sample company we're working with. Let's say that I want to add data bars so that it's easier for me to distinguish between the different values, or at least their magnitude, visually. I'll start by selecting a cell within the pivot table's values area. In this case, I've clicked cell B5. Then on the Home tab of the ribbon, I will click the Conditional Formatting button, and I will point to data bars. If I want, I could apply one of 12 built-in formats. The first are gradient fills, and I'll click the first one as blue to show what it looks like. And you can see that the data bar fades as it goes to the right. If I click the Formatting Options button and click all cells showing sum of total price values for SKU, then you'll see that a couple of things happen. The first is that we have the data bar for every cell within the data area, but it excludes the subtotal at the bottom. If I would have selected the middle option, which is all cells showing sum of total price values, then it would include the subtotal and the rest of the data bars would be thrown off. So in other words, we're not comparing at levels. We have individual items here and the subtotal in cell B12. Now, one thing to note is that if I press Ctrl-Z, it removes the format entirely and I need to recreate it. I don't like gradient fills, and the reason I don't is that they fade away as they go to the right and there's no hard visual edge for comparison. So instead, I like to select any cell in the data area or values area, click Conditional Formatting, point to data bars, and if I'm going to use one of the built-in colors, I prefer to use one of the solid fills. So I'll click sort of the goldenrod yellow here, click the Formatting Options button, and click the bottom option from there. And you can see that the largest values data bar goes all the way to the right, and there's no gradient fill to reduce the visual impact of that change. I'll press Ctrl-Z to undo. You're not limited to using the built-in colors. If you want, you can, again, go to Conditional Formatting, point to data bars, and at the bottom of the palette that appears, you can click More Rules. That displays the new formatting rule dialog box, and here you have a lot of control. Instead of waiting to use the Formatting Options button to select the cells to which you want to apply the rule, you can select all cells showing sum of total price values for SKU at the start. If you look down, you see that you have your format of data bar. If you want, you can also show the bar only and not show the actual values. I always leave minimum and maximum to automatic so that even the smallest values show a bar of an appropriate length. If you go down to bar appearance, you can select solid fill or gradient. Never use gradient, always use solid. And you can also change the color. So for the fill, I will change the color from blue to, let's make it a light green. And then if you want, you can also change the settings for negative values. So if I click the negative value and axis button, you'll see that you can have negative bar filled in red, or you can have the same fill color just going in an opposite direction. Axis is where positive and negative values are split. I tend to leave this on automatic, but if you're doing some sort of data analysis where you have a lot of values that go left and right, positive and negative, then cell midpoint can work as well. In this case, I won't change anything, so I'll just click OK. And I'm back in New Formatting Rule. Everything looks good. I'll click OK, and my data bars have been applied. Data bars provide a quick visual summary of the relative magnitude of values in your pivot table. You can use your conditional format to change the color and characteristics of the data bar, and even show the data bar by itself if you only care about magnitude and not the actual numbers.